Good evening, dear viewer. Welcome again to the Street Peace Coalition. My name is Ernest Muhammad. We're glad to have you with us this evening. Today is June 13th, 2016, and unfortunately we have just experienced another tragic event in America's history. A couple of days ago in Orlando, Florida, we experienced and witnessed one of the greatest mass shootings in this country's history. The last death toll that we have been informed of is 49 people killed and 53 wounded at a nightclub that was supposed to be frequented by gay and lesbian individuals. A deranged person decided to go to the club and kill people wholesale. This is a very troubling event, but I really want to talk about how this event is related to the lifestyle and culture that we have adopted in America that is not as much of a lifestyle, but it is a death style. America has a very serious problem, and we have to be focused on what that problem is. It's a preoccupation with death and a fixation with killing. If Americans did not have such a fixation with killing, we would have banned high-capacity magazine assault rifles a long time ago. The fact that we have not done this suggests to us and to every reasonable person that the American people, and especially the American politicians, condone this kind of killing and this kind of behavior. We have to be real clear about how such things happen in this culture. Violence and killing, unfortunately, is embedded in the lifeblood of the American system. And we have to own up to it, we have to accept it, and we have to make up our minds and our resolve to do something about it. I just want to read to you some of the statistics that took place just over the Memorial Day weekend and how this is a reflection of the attitude of the American people when it comes to shooting violence and homicides in this nation. Although we saw 49 people killed in Orlando, Florida, and 53 wounded over the course of the Memorial Day weekend right here in Chicago, we witnessed 69 people in this city that were hit by gunfire. Of the 69 that were hit by gunfire, 6 people were killed, and 27 of the 69 were shot over here by the Harrison district on the west side of the city. Anytime a people fail to raise their collective voice against violence and wanton killing, then by default they tacitly condone it. And the fact that we have not been able to really quell this violence suggests that we love guns more than we love human life. I have next to me, who's joined me, is Brother Ernest. And Brother Ernest, I've really been talking to the audience about America's preoccupation with death and killing that has become part and parcel of the American culture. And the fact that we have not been able or willing to do much at all about the wanton killing and violence that has gone on the streets of Chicago that killing has spread. And now you see the kind of violence and recklessness that takes place in mass, on a mass scale in other parts of the country. I just want you to kind of speak to the issue of just how embedded violence and shooting and killing has become in terms of its impact on the American people, and it's become the part of the very fabric of this society.
Well, it appears that we don't have any means by which to resolve our issues. Mm-hmm. Our means by which we resolve every issue is through violence. I mean, this violence is reflected in everything we do and everything we put our hands on. I mean, if me and you disagree with a thing, we can't debate the disagreement without us coming to blows. And if, we come to blows and one of us loses, that squabble, the end result is to get a gun or to murder each other. And a lot of these issues be interpersonal. A lot of these issues be people that previously were friends or calling themselves friends. And, we look at TV a lot, and the first thing the community jumps to is to say that it's gang violence. Well, that's only partly true. A lot of it is interpersonal. These individuals know each other, and we have not learned how to interact with one another we cannot disagree. We cannot have our opinion and disagree peacefully. If you don't go along with what I'm saying, I'm gonna crack you upside your head. And if that don't force you to go along with what I'm asking you to do or what my feelings about a thing, the next thing I'm gonna do is draw a gun. I mean,
yeah.
That's not what I believe we have to do is to show people that there's another way.
Yeah, and I'm sure many people in our audience have an idea about what that way is. I think we have a caller now. Caller, go right ahead. You're on with the Street Peace Coalition.
Yes, I wanted to make the point. I think you're raising a number of important issues. And in fairness to Chicago and the country at large, we're at a 40-year low in terms of crime in this country, and violent crime included. There were times in the 1980s and 70s where Chicago broached 1,000 murders per year. Now we consider it a crisis if we go above 450. Now, I certainly think that 450 is much too high a number, but compared to 1,000, it's a significant drop. And so it means that we've made some right choices. We've moved in the right direction in some ways. We have a long way to go. And the gentleman makes an excellent point that, as long as that we continue to have a culture in this country, and it's not limited to any one group, whereby people feel that the first thing that they reach for is a gun, as opposed to some other way of resolving conflict, this is going to continue to perpetuate itself. And unfortunately, part of this has to do with technology as well, because, let's face it, I'm old enough, and you gentlemen are old enough to remember the guns of the 1970s. You could not buy something that could kill 50 people. You could buy a revolver on the street somewhere. You could not buy something that had an extended clip and could shoot off 30 rounds, with a semi-automatic, or it can be turned into a fully automatic AR-15. It could be turned into a fully automatic weapon. And that's part of the problem, where, even if I wanted to, I couldn't have killed 50 people, 75 people in 1975, unless I had several $1,000s to purchase a military-style weapon. But today, a few $100s can buy you that same military-style weapon. And we need to talk about just how much restriction we need to put on who has access to this kind of firepower. I'm all for people having the right to defend their homes and so forth, but the idea that you need a machine gun to defend your family is absurd. You don't. And, what in heaven's name do you need a machine gun for to begin with in an urban area such as Chicago? What do you plan to do? Go hunting with that thing on the streets? You're going to shoot geese? I mean, there's no practical purpose for having such a weapon. And that's part of the problem in this country. So I think you gentlemen are doing a great job of addressing some of these issues, and more power to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I really appreciate the caller's remarks. They were very insightful and dead on. And unfortunately, we have people in this country that will look at a massacre such as the one that took place a few days ago and arrive to the conclusion that because that perpetrator had a high-capacity magazine assault rifle, that they need one in order to protect themselves against somebody like him, right? When the truth of the matter is there's only one perpetrator. All he needs to do is be shot or disarmed by one bullet. So there's no need for anyone to jump to the convoluted, irrational thinking that they need to go out and buy a high-capacity semi-automatic rifle in order to stop or protect themselves from somebody that has one, and perpetrating a crime like that. So we are really in an arms race in this country, and this arms race has led us on a downward spiral of violence and killing. And we have to find our way out of it. We have to navigate our way out of this maze. And I think President Obama has been preaching this until his throat is sore. There are certain guns that should not be in the hands of ordinary American citizens. And the fact that we have not done away with these guns really suggests that we condone having them. And by condoning them, we have also condone not a lifestyle, but a death style. That's exactly what it is, and we have to be able to look it squarely in the face and make a choice. Either we're going to live for peace and give all human beings an opportunity to live in this society, or we're going to go down the spiral of an arms race where everybody feels as though they have to have a weapon to protect themselves. And Brother Ernest, people just really don't recognize the fact that they are a part of the culture. Right. And if the culture is fixated on killing and death, then when they get a gun to protect themselves, the brain computer begins to think more about killing than protecting.
Right.
And then sooner or later, that gun is used not to defend and protect their family, but it's inadvertently used to kill someone, and the person who has it winds up being charged.
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because and on the streets, I have ran the streets and did my share of misconduct, and thinking back during those times, a gun gave this false sense of power, this cape, if you will, if you Superman,
A cape
or the outfit. You know how Superman come up out of his outfit and he take the glasses off. The level of his strength is revealed. And so you had this false sense of power, and you walk around with this this illusion that you could conquer everybody, you could do everybody in. And so
that's a very insightful observation. So you're saying that a person that gets a gun to protect themselves, they move out of the conscious realm of protection and move into the conscious realm of having this power and having the ability to take life, right? And then before you know it, they cross that line anytime they get into a conflict or a beef with someone.
And it's almost to the point where they're prepared. They're prepared to go into this act of violence premeditated, so to speak. Without anyone saying anything to them. They're gun-ho. They're ready for conflict.
Right.
When, if you bought the gun for protection, if you're using the gun for protection, then you shouldn't have that spirit. But we don't take that spirit. We take the spirit of, we ride around looking for the guy that cut us off in traffic. You are looking for trouble. You are looking for a problem.
Yes.
And sometimes you get what you're looking for, and so these things are gonna continue to happen. If you walk out your house and you continue to push people, eventually somebody's gonna push you back.
Right.
Eventually,
Right.
You're gonna get what you're looking for. So if you, in most cases, don't go with that mindset to harm, to hurt, and it's kind of difficult. I don't know why, but it's kind of difficult because you buy or you purchase these guns under the your intentions don't be to protect yourself. Your intentions be to do harm to somebody, and so.
Well, see, even when you talk about purchasing a gun to protect oneself,
Yes,
right?
sir.
When you incorporate a gun into your lifestyle,
Yes, sir.
and you decide to keep it on your person, keep it on your car.
Right.
See, after a while, you begin to move into the area of, well, that's just a part of my life.
Right.
And once it becomes a part of your life, and you're also bombarded with all of these influences in the society,
Yes, sir.
that's suggesting to you that you can kill and you should kill.
Right.
That's in the movies, in
Right.
the media, in the very fabric of the culture of the society.
Right.
Then you begin to operate off of those unconscious impulses.
Yes, sir.
And that becomes a part of your lifestyle. Once
sir.
again, you have not embraced the lifestyle, you've embraced a death style. It's
Yes,
just
sir.
a matter of time before circumstances
Gonna
are
present
created
this.
and
Yes, sir.
present themselves that you use the gun in a way that you never intended.
Right.
So. But let me kind of turn to you, Brother Ernest. Now,
Yes, sir.
As I mentioned earlier in the show,
Mhm.
that we had 69 people shot over the Memorial Day weekend. 27 of those people was shot right here on the West Side.
Mhm.
Now, you grew up on the West Side?
Yes, sir.
Which part of the West Side?
I grew up on Chicago Avenue in Avery's. Now
right.
I think they call it West Humboldt.
All
Yeah.
right. So now, what grammar school and high school did you go to?
Well, I actually went to Lincoln Park High
Okay.
School because my mom stayed on the north side for a while.
Okay.
Well, we had to move back over there. We fell on a little hard times and had house got caught on fire. We had to move to Cabrini Green for a minute, and but I got into some issues out there, and so I had to end up moving back to my grandmother's house, which was 831 North Avery's. So I grew up in that area, and
Now, how did you get exposed to sort of the street life? How did you get your first brush with gang culture, gang activity, quote unquote, street organizations?
wow.
And if you could probably tell us too, in this quick, few minutes we have left, what was it that pulled you out of it?
Well, to try to keep it as brief as possible, I was anti-gang when I was young, and hanging out with my family. Most of them were gang members, and them getting into a conflict at what we used to call the rink. It used to be a skating rink on Chicago Avenue in Pulaski.
Okay.
Got into a fist fight, and I really didn't start the fight or anything. I just called myself helping my family because they were getting jumped on, but actually they started the fight. And they actually started the fight with some guys from Cabrini where I was staying at the time.
Okay.
And I didn't think nothing of it. I was young. And then when I went back home, the guys over there in Cabrini saw me. They was like, "Oh, you helped them guys on the west side jump me." And so out of anger, the next day, I had to leave my mom's house. I couldn't go back to Cabrini no more. So out of anger, I went and joined up with the gang, the opposite gang, angry at what had happened to me.
Okay.
And a lot of things happened, but I thank Allah that I heard the strong voice of a brother that I love and respect, and which was Minister Farrakhan. And I started to listen to that, and I had already started to study Islam or whatever, but I wanted to stay in the streets.
Okay.
And he said a very powerful thing to me, and I felt like it was to me. I mean, although he was speaking from the rostrum, and I went to go see him speak, went on the south side and heard him talk, and the minister said, I'm not trying to change you, I'm just trying to give you righteous direction. And that helped me so much, because I didn't want to be changed. We got these images of when we grow up in the world, we feel like the church, especially we call ourselves being from the streets.
Okay.
We think people from the world, they punks, they this, they soft, this, that, and the third. And so, and I guess we get those, that type of attitude from the church or whatever. And so I didn't want to be religious. I didn't want to be in that group, because the group I was coming from, we was tough, we was strong, we was bold. But when I saw the FOI, I said, these brothers is tough. They soldiers, and I'm a soldier myself. And so I could see the transition. I could see me doing what they were doing, because I wasn't selling out. So I began to study and learn more and more and more, and I started to find new hustles. So today, I was like the average brother, couldn't find a job, but I made a job for myself.
So you gravitated toward the strength
of
the FOI.
Yes, sir.
As well as the message.
Yes, sir.
And that helped to pull you out of the street life that you was in.
Absolutely. And I believe that if you find something out there that motivates you, it don't have to be the nation. It could be any positive thing. If you begin to take your time and spend your time towards that thing, you will see, and you continue to study that thing and put that in your heart and your spirit, you won't have time to run these streets. You won't have time to gang bang, sell drugs, or be in the mischief that we typically gravitate towards. If you just find something that grabs your attention, something that occupies your time, something that is good for you and your family. You could do everything that we are doing of evil, we could turn it around and do it, and it could be constructive. If we turn it around positively. I was hustling drugs, now I hustle my business, and I make sure I constantly got customers. So, and I still it still gives me the same satisfaction of when I was standing outside on the corner every day.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem, brother. We are smothered in ignorance, and we drowning in self-hatred.
Yes, sir.
And that is what is consuming us right now, and enveloping us, and we can't find a way out. Brother, I really appreciate your story, and what I'd like to do next week is to come back and kind of pick up on it so you can give us some insight as to what's going on the west side. Like I said, we had 27 people shot on the west side over the Memorial Day weekend. We really want to kind of look at that closer next week. And really begin to examine, why is this taking place, how is it taking place, and what are some of the root causes that contribute to this. We're about at the end of our program. We certainly thank our listening and viewing audience for tuning in another week, and we look forward to having you come back and join us next week. You can pick us up on Facebook, Street Peace Coalition. You can also email us or check out our website, streetpeacecoalitionwebley.com. Thank you, and good night.